Bom dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, you gumpers.
Good morning, good morning. It's Carl Munson from GMP. Good morning, Portugal. Now, please don't leave just yet. I know you're probably expecting Carl and a whole host of guests. And here's the thing, I'm taking this over for him today because he's on his little Schist Trip with Filomena and Friends. And I had two guests and they both cancelled. To be fair, they had really good reasons, and I'm sure it wasn't anything personal, but I'm a little bit worried that I'm going to bomb his show. So let's hope I don't. If you are happy to like, then please do. I need all the help I can get today. So I changed the theme a little bit because obviously the theme that we were going to do, I couldn't really do on my own. So I'm hoping for a little bit of company, but also to talk about the whole process of the hero's journey, you know, like the stories we have about moving and why we did the move, and you know, like the legend, how everybody kind of has a story that they tell to people when they say, how was it that you ended up migrating and blah, 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 blah. And sometimes we recognize those stories. And then, you know, like a few years down the line, we think, flipping heck, where did that story come from? You know, so all of that I want to really sort of explore and expand upon. Now, Carl is actually hurtling through Portugal right now in a minibus with a load of people, and I can see him in the kind of like our green room, I'm guessing. So let's bring him on. But actually, before I do, I just want to say welcome. I can see we've got loads of people in the chat room, lots of encouragement, loads of really kind of off jokes, which I quite like. Not sure if they're the dad jokes today or not, but I'm probably going to tell them. I might tell them when Carl's on so I can get a bit of reaction from him. But anyway, let's bring Carl on now and see how his Schist Trip is going. I've got to be really careful how I say that.
I
Hello.
beg your pardon.
How are you?
Well, look, we're on the tour with the with a few gumpers here.
Oh, hello, Mike. Oh, look, hi, Christina. Everyone's waving. That's nice.
We're on our way. If I turn it around, we are on the motorway heading towards Miranda de Curva, where we'll meet Filomena. So for me, it's a Filomena Friday, and she's waiting. Yes, for us, it's one of those. Rodrigo is driving us here, top man. He's a great guy, and he's taking us over to Miranda de Curva, where we'll meet Filomena. Then we're going to head up to the Schist Villages. We're going to have an amazing lunch in one of Portugal's most famous restaurants up there.
Seriously, what's it famous for?
It's food, hopefully.
But like, what's so special about its food? Because I mean, like, you know, we've obviously eaten at lots of places and stayed at lots of places, and they're all very good. What marks this one out as being?
Well, it is typical Portuguese. I'm trying to find my notes now. This is. Look, we have our own leaflet that Filomena made. When she does a tour, She's amazing, and I'm assisting, and I just don't. I almost don't feel worthy of being her supporter. She is so brilliantly prepared. The trip has been created with forensic detail. It's absolutely lovely, and we're going to the Beral factory later as well. But the name of the restaurant, that's what I was looking for, is Old Bergon, near the castle of Luzão. And it's when you go in there, it's like one of those traditional Portuguese restaurants where there are pictures on the wall of, you know, actors and presidents and prime ministers who've been up there. So maybe there'll be a Gumper picture up there before we leave today.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
You might get
group picture.
That's great. I think I can see a few other people at the back. Is that Colin there at the back?
Colin's there. It smells of apples on here, which is one of the better smells you can have on a minibus.
Yes.
And that's because some of our delegates very kindly have brought a box of apples from their orchard. That's so Portuguese, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. That's super duper Portuguese. That's lovely. And don't drink any water that you find on there. You know, like when you sort of like get in a minibus and somebody's left behind a bottle.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, don't drink the yellow water. Is that what you're saying?
Not the yellow water. You know, people
Right,
like
okay.
leave bottles behind, and sometimes they get.
Oh,
you
okay.
know,
That have been baking in the sunshine. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I very, very thoughtfully brought my own water. Will you help me with that? Did you help me remove the botulism or legionnaires from my?
Did and I didn't replace it with yellow water.
Oh, can't wait.
Freshly filtered water for you. Do you want to hear some of the jokes that are coming through so far?
No, definitely not. The jokes on this show are terrible. No, yeah, of course. Go on.
Okay, let's just scroll down. We've got a little bit of chit chat from Mr. S and the Ancient Mariner. But hang on, let's down. Okay, as we Brits say, to be fair, I didn't know that we said this. I'm going to put it on the screen. As we Brits say, once a king, always a king, but once a night is enough.
Right.
As you get older. Very good, Ancient Mariner. Very good. Thank you very much. He's also saying Camelot used to be a surefire path to success, but now it's just a lottery.
Very good. Top draw.
Yeah.
Come back, T-Duck, please.
Where is T-Duck at the moment?
Taking a bit of a rest. He's been very busy and a lot of things going on, and a well-earned rest. So the quesadillas, the deep thoughts will be back. Maybe next week. But yeah, he's had a lot on his plate, and everyone deserves a rest from time to time.
Maybe some of the people on your trip could come up with a deep thought for me, and you can like.
Maybe it's actually quite difficult communicating across a minibus, as you put it, hurtling along the motorway. It's like, are you okay? What? What do you want for lunch? It's just this is another brilliant thoughtfulness from Filomena. Is that she's given me a lunch matrix. You've got the menu, and there are some amazing things on the menu. I think I sent you the menu. Their speciality looks amazing, and I need somebody else on the trip to have that with me because it's one of those 2 people meals. So that's their house speciality, and I'm hoping Guido. I think he likes his sausage. That's the rumor I've heard in Celia de Porto. Anyway, it's a sausage fest on a plate. I hasten to add. So I'm hoping. And what she's done, she's given me.
Who you say that about, Carl? You can't just say like a sausage fest. It's very rude.
Nice mug. He is. No, Filomena gave me the menu, and she gave me a matrix to, take everybody's order while we're en route towards where we're going to the restaurant. So she's been so thorough. She's been in touch with us already. Somebody played a little bit of a prank on her. We're on a 15-seater, and somebody took a picture of one of those 60-seater coaches in the car park and said, "Oh, this is really nice, Filomena. Thanks a lot." Sent it to her.
Was it you?
Yeah, and so Rodrigo got a call. What? We'll never get that 60-seater up into the Schist villages. So we had to. That was the first wind-up of the day. So it's okay, Filomena, if you're watching. We are on our 15-seater with a wonderful Rodrigo here.
Excellent. Dashing Rodrigo.
He is. He's a handsome fellow.
Very handsome man.
We're in good hands here.
Yes, well, I should leave you to it, unless you want to tell us about what's going on next weekend in Tamar.
Oh, I would love to. I mean, just when we thought we were going into the autumn and winter and things would calm down a bit, it just hasn't been like that, has it? We had a fantastic weekend in Araguera, and our next Discovery weekend. Today is a day trip, and then next weekend we've got a weekend trip arriving in Tamar on Friday the 13th. Now, Friday the 13th is a Templar thing, I believe.
Is it?
I believe so. I think when the Templars got the pushback, as it were, because they became incredibly powerful. Some might argue we need a little bit more of that Templar energy in the world right now. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn or haven't put myself in some sort of historical mess saying that. But they were, what I like about the Templars, as I understand it, is that they were feared by the government and the church in equal measure. And that's why they had to be stopped. And I believe the stopping came on a Friday the 13th. and perhaps that's where partly the superstition comes from about Friday the 13th. We'll be going to Portugal Templar capital next Friday the 13th, week today. That's come around quick, isn't it?
It's
and then
come
we'll be
down
spending the
very,
weekend there. Yeah, we'll be doing some more filming there. The Englishman and the Irishman and 2 Brummies will be going into a bar. The bar is Cafe Paraíso in Tamar, which was where a famous Stella Artois advert was filmed. You can see that on the Cafe Paraíso website. And we're just going to have the most amazing weekend in Tamar. You love Tamar, don't you?
Oh, yeah, it's one of our favourite places. You know, we also gave birth to one of our children very close nearby. Well, I gave birth to him, didn't I?
You did the
So
hard work, yeah.
we've got like a lot of really great memories of Tamar and what
Yeah,
Tamar has.
absolutely. It's where we arrived first of all as well.
Yeah, it was definitely. It's part of our migration story, funnily enough.
It is.
Yeah, so there's a meet and great on the Friday night, isn't there? And is there sort of some kind of?
Well, Ben Austin, the guy who has been
Saturday morning?
Sorry, say that again.
They're going to be a tour on the Saturday morning.
Loosely, we'll see how we feel. We've got a template for the weekend, which is a booze up on a Friday night, a booze up on a Saturday afternoon, booze up on a Saturday evening, and maybe hair of the dog on Sunday. That's the loose plan. And people will probably want to walk around beautiful Tamar, and we can do it in groups. People can go off and do their own thing. I don't want to be organising a be here at this time sort of tour. It's an easygoing vibe, and the emphasis is on having some fun in a new place in Portugal. So do rock up and join us and have some fun. Choose to come along to the bits you want to come along to. It's not nothing is compulsory on those.
Yeah, I mean, if you live locally, like we've got some friends who live on the Silver Coast as well, not far from Obidos. I think they're going to join in their camper van, which is a great idea.
Exactly. People need to come along and do it how they want to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be there for all of it. I'll be there for the main parts of the socializing. But during the day with the kids, we've got a choice of really good parks, haven't we? So I'm just going to be hanging out.
In the middle of town, that park we used to go to a lot on the river, the Naval River. You can see the convent of Tamar from there. You can walk to the botanical gardens. Everything's very manageable in Tamar.
Very manageable.
So do come along, and you're likely to get quite a good accommodation bargain at the moment. The main tourist season's over, and there are some good bargains to be had. We've got a booking.com link on goodmorningportugal.com on the homepage, which you said wasn't very easy to find, but you can click through from that and search for Tamar and come and hang out with us next weekend. Yeah,
very good. Okay, well, I'm going to start reading some of these comments. They're coming in thick and fast.
Yeah, sorry. Let me get out of the way.
No, don't. Just, can you stay in the background so I can call you up anytime?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Or if you see something you want to show us, then give me a wave in the background.
Yeah, I'll give you some sort of footage, some B-roll, as they call it in the industry, of the Portuguese countryside as we drive.
That sounds great.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to put your B-roll on now. Thank you very much, Mr. M. Oh, I love that guy so much. So anyway, let's see who's joining us in the chat room today. So we've got Ian's checking in. Let me just bring up his message. So it's Coach T. He's saying, Bon dia, Gumpers. How are you all today? I'm off for a coffee shortly with Mrs. T. She volunteers on Friday mornings, so that we have to be a bit earlier than usual. Have a great day. That's really nice that you're doing volunteering. Carl and I used to volunteer all the, we used to do like tree planting and things like that. It's such a nice thing to do. He's saying, the God Squad tip of the day. In the cooler months, I find it takes a long time to get warm if out for a walk, unless that is I'm going up a hill. Then I'm taking off layers very quickly. So I'm guessing his tip is climb a hill if it's cold. It's not my kind of fun, I have to say, Coach T. You can catch me doing that in a million years. But bless you, and thank you for sending through your lovely God Squad tip of the days. So I'm just going to go right back to the beginning. So the Ancient Mariner saying you're in safe hands. Let's hope everyone will be super chill because it's Friday. And you know what? I'd love it if people would join me today. So if you've got a story about how you moved here or how you've moved to another country, or even what your kind of life story is, like your hero's journey, that's something I want to explore with people today. Because you know what? We're on this place for such a short space of time. less sharing the stories of each other. I think it's really, really powerful. I think we can learn stuff from each other. So let's see what else we've got. We've got Mr. S saying a load of Portuguese, which always makes me freak out a little bit. But I think it's something to the effect of, it's great to have your presence on this lovely sunny Friday. Thank you very much. The Ancient Mariner is also saying, I was in Salisbury, Wiltshire yesterday, hoping to buy my eldest sister a surprise present, but none of the shops appear to stock Nonna Ricci Premier Jour perfume, nor could I find any in the charity shops. Isn't that because it's Nina Ricci? Nina Ricci, yeah, he's changed that. I think Nina Ricci is no longer available. I think my mum used to wear Le Duton. Okay, so they're talking perfumes, nothing about Portugal whatsoever, or being an expat, but talking about buying perfumes, how very cosmopolitan. It's all good though. Salisbury is actually quite a nice little town, well worth a visit. You know what? Salisbury was where Carl and I had our first kiss. Now that might gross people out, but yeah, we had our first proper snog in Salisbury. I've got very fond memories of Salisbury. In fact, we were snogging on the side of a street. This is like our first kiss. He was opening the car door for me to get in, and he leant in for this kiss, and it was like the best, still is the best kiss I've ever had. And somebody like was walking past us on the road and said, "Get a room." I love that kiss. So yeah, Salisbury, top place, great energy. James is joining us. He's saying, "Bom dia a todos, feliz sexta, como estão? Tudo bem?" So that's like, good day to everybody. Happy Friday. How is everyone? Hope you're well, or I'm well. Tudo bem. How's it going? Kind of thing. Something to think about. When is old enough to know better supposed to kick in? It's a really good question. When is it? What are your thoughts? Let me know, because I don't think I actually have any ideas. DJW, Lance is an uncommon name nowadays, but in medieval times, people were named Lancelot. I love that. That's very clever. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you so much. Oh, hang on. There's some movement. I just need to see what's going on here. Let me bring them on and get some sound. Carl, what's going on?
Well, when you're on a tour and you get to a certain age, people who are thinking of coming on the tour say, will we be able to stop along the way? So I have to give them very strict orders. They've got to be back on the bus in 10 minutes, and they're typical. Jeff's here. Typical a tour guide territory. This. Can we get a coffee? Can we get breakfast? No, you've got to be back on the bus in 10 minutes. So we'll see what happens. But we've got strict orders.
Can I just check? Did you count them all in? Do you know how many you've actually got?
I do know how many. I can't say that publicly, obviously, because it's a GDPR matter.
Yes.
But I do have my numbers, and I will count them back on again. Yeah. But here we are in a wonderful, typical Portuguese picnic area. You don't have to go far, do you, to find a picnic area in Portugal?
No,
so here we go.
They're lovely.
This is a service station.
Yeah.
You know, they're not driving you inside to buy expensive stuff in the petrol station or the services. If you want to. Jeff is doing some Tai Chi, I think, or just some freestyle. Is this interpretive dance, Jeff? Are you just showing us how you feel about this trip so far? Could you express that a little bit more in dance? Isn't he good? Look at this.
Oh my goodness, it's such movement.
Legend. He is water. He is pure water, that man. Look at him flowing like that. And so other stretching going on around.
There is,
I think people are very glad of this little stop, it would appear.
Do you know what I noticed?
I might have to go to a pee myself, actually.
Do you know what I noticed, love?
What's that?
It's a picnic area, and given that yesterday was a public holiday, pretty much every flipping available picnic table will have been eaten on. Those bins are all empty.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's all very tidy. It's all very tidy. Yeah. I'm going to walk up to the top of this field here. I think there are even rabbit droppings, or someone dropped a bag of currants here yesterday. Well, there we go. There's the Portuguese countryside. Isn't that beautiful? Those sort of pastel-y layers in the distance there. I don't know if you can see those, but it's a beautiful morning.
I always think at this time of year, it takes a while for it to get really, really hot. So like we get these slightly hazy mornings, and then all of a sudden it's like the sun comes out and burns all the clouds away, and then it's just pure blue sky. In fact,
Yeah.
just like that
That is
side.
what's going to happen. Yeah, that's what's going to happen today here. We're going to have a nice warm day in Central at the Schist villages. Now, I
Yeah.
think I probably better go and have a pee myself. Having said that about everybody else, I'm going to take advantage of the situation. It was Jeff flowing like water, the Tai Chi guy, that's made me want to go to the toilet, I think.
Can I just say, when I used to work for Eurosites, which is air tours, we were all coming back from France, all the reps, like for the whole of, Eurosites. There was about 60 reps on this bus, and they stopped at my local services to drop me off. And the person didn't count them back on, and there was like the bus went off, and there was this person who was from Manchester, didn't know all his luggage had gone on ahead, and I had to like take him back to my mum's and look after him.
Really? Well, I might have to do that tonight if I turn up with someone. Right, you can't come in with me for this bit.
Okay, all right, yeah, there's something best left unseen. I'll take you off the screen.
Nightmare, look.
You're just a visa. So that's what you see. Things out of order. Are you going into the ladies?
No, take me off because I need to attend to the call of nature.
Okay, bye-bye.
Seriously, come on now.
Oh dear. So anyway, James was asking if he's an Arthur because he's made me laugh. What have we got else? We got Camelot used to be a short. Oh, we've said that, haven't we? I'm all fingers and thumbs. Sue's here is in the background saying, "You've got this, Mrs. M. Here for you." Thank you so much. And I think she's reacting to some of James's jokes, saying it was a groaner. And I don't even understand some of these comments, so I'm really sorry about that. I think I've missed the opportunity. So let's find some of the more more recent comments. Okay, so we got Owen joining us saying "Hola Luisa," which reminds me, I've got one of his poems I'd like to play that came through this morning, and if I can make this work, let's see if I can make this work. Where did it come? Hang on. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Oh, I need to turn the volume up.
Everybody, I've sent you another little poem. This is a poem that...
Can you hear that, or is that going the wrong way?
Basically around my love and the reasons why I cook food. And it's called "Come Sit Around the Table." Let us gather around this table, dear friends. The time has come to break bread and share our cheer. Let us speak of love and laughter as we sit and feast, our spirits gather. The memories we've made, the moments we've shared, the laughter we've known, the tears we've dared. Let's talk of all these things and more as we sit around this table once more. The food before us, a feast to behold, a symphony of flavours, a cornucopia to unfold. Let us savour each bite, each sip, each delight, as we sit and feast in the warmth of this night. So let us raise our glasses high and true to the love we have for each other and the memories we hold true. Let us cherish this time, this moment we share, as we sit around this table with love and care. Bon fin de semana.
Isn't that lovely? Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Oh, that's so, so nice. I think Carl has finished his tinkle. Are you decent?
That was, maybe you should wait for the answer before you put me back on the screen.
Have you got everyone?
I think we're getting back on the bus now, out onto the open road again. So I'll give you a bit more footage of the countryside, and we'll see you in a little while.
All right, then.
Okay.
So that was great from Owen. He's getting us all ready for the weekend, reminding us about all the great things in life. Carl's going to show us the Portuguese countryside. Let's see what else is coming in from everybody that's watching. So Bob is saying, "Bon dia, Luisa, you'll do grandly." Thank you very much. James is saying, "I'm a legend in my own mind." I'm guessing that's in response to the whole idea of a hero's journey and the legends of migration that we tell ourselves and tell each other. Portugal Sun is saying, "Louisa, how are you doing? We haven't seen you in ages. How have you settled? Are you comfy and everything? Let us know." A Swede in Portugal, I think that's Anna, isn't it? It's saying, Bon dia, Luisa and everyone, and bon fin de semana. I just picked up some guava from my neighbour's tree loaded with vitamin C. Oh my goodness. We were given some guava. Are they really, really small? We had a type of them that they tasted almost like a cross between a kiwi and perfume. And we had so much in the end, I just had to make loads of jam with it and a load of tarts. It was beautiful stuff. You're so lucky to get that. It's so nice. What a treat. Mr. S is saying bon dia, Mrs. M. Filomena is saying bon dia, alegria. You all look great. Filomena, you got such a great day ahead. I wish I was there, actually. It sounds like it's going to be great fun. Mr. S is saying bon dia, Carl. And hola, Filomena says lots of love in the house. That's really good. Everyone's loving Filomena, of course. Suze is saying taxi heard Carl's voice and leapt onto the bed beside me. Who knew? That is so lovely. Mr. S is saying taxi. That is actually Susie's dog. Taxi is really, really cool. Really, really lovely. We've got Christina C saying bon dia, alegria. The Global Nobles are saying good morning. This is Greg. It's interesting because sometimes we have the Global Nobles, like obviously join Carl's show, and sometimes they join my show on the Barefoot Broadcast or on Feelgood Astrology, and we never know which one it is. And when we met them recently at the Aroera meetup, Greg said, if it's like casual and if it's talking about beer, it's probably me, and if it's slightly more related to consciousness, then it's Amy. So it's very sweet that you've announced that this is Greg. The Global Nobles, Greg is also saying, I said the blind man as he fell into a pit. Very cool. We've also got Mr. S saying, did you not invite Anna to the Portuguese language immersion gathering? Do you know what? I think I know that which Anna are you talking about? Are you talking about Anne Belger? Because I know that she's going to be doing a Portuguese language immersion gathering straight after the São Martinho de Porto Discovery Weekend, which is in the first weekend of November. So I'm not entirely sure which gathering you're asking. Are you talking about today's Schist thing? I think she was invited, but yeah, she's very cool, but she's also super duper busy. So Anne is like so good at what she does that she's really, really in demand. Antonio F saying bon dia a todos. We got the usual Antonio and James. What else is coming in? Just lots of really, really nice stuff. So James is saying, would that be a Templar template then? Do you know what, James? You'll have to come. It's not too far away. Oh, we've got a bit of a treat. Let me put the sound on because we've got Rugby Colin joining.
Rugby Colin is here.
I always know you as Rugby Colin.
Taking her place.
He's getting really pally with me.
Yes, he is.
He said he was just plugging his seatbelt in.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've now discovered what that means if you're a rugby player.
Oh, really?
The scrum is going to happen.
The scrum is on.
That sounds really, really worrying. Colin, how are you doing?
Colin, how are you doing? I'm going to have to translate. How
new
are you? How's the trip so far, Colin?
Very well, thank you. Now I can actually put my legs out front.
Oh, he said
I needed to chop them off in.
Yeah, he needed to get in the front of me so he could stretch his legs out.
And stroke yours.
And stroke my legs too, that's right. That's probably more of a coming back thing than a going to the trip thing, isn't it? After we've bonded a bit more. Bonded over Berlin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got a question. I've got a cat-related question for Colin because I know.
A cat-related question coming in for you. If I give you the other, pop that in your ear, then you'll be able to hear what she's saying.
I can hear you now.
That's good, isn't it? What a great system.
I've got a bit of a cat-related question, and I know you. There's somebody dangling an apple behind you.
Oh, thank you.
I think that was Mike.
Right, it's a beauty.
We recently
turning into a Bible story here, Colin. Should we take the first bite or not?
Are you going to be Adam or me?
It's Adam and Steve on this occasion, isn't it? So go. What was the cat question?
Okay, the cat question is,
we're listening.
I know you've adopted quite a few cats, haven't you, along the way?
I didn't hear that, did you?
You've adopted quite a few cats.
Is that
Yeah,
true?
fine. We have. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll go say that.
We adopted 2 kittens this summer, and they've settled in
Right.
beautifully. And then 2 weeks ago, this wild stray cat came yowling at our door and just came straight in and made herself comfortable. Now,
Of
she
course.
decided that she wanted to be with us, and so we fed her, we checked out, and she's not chipped, she doesn't belong to anyone.
Yeah.
I don't
In fact,
suppose
4 policemen came, didn't they? We had a load of policemen come and check to see if she had a chip or not.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I think they've just brought a shower head from the Chinese shop and said that it was a scanner. Oh,
Yeah, it's a very, very good service from the police. But anyway, it's established that she doesn't have any owners. She's quite sweet. However, she's got a really nasty, mean side, and she's attacked me twice. Like went for my fingers in quite a savage way. But then
Yeah.
a couple of nights ago, she went for my eye, completely unprovoked, as far as
scratched
we.
the face.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. What do you think that is from your cat psychology kind of?
I had to put iodine on my face. You know, it was a pretty nasty old. I mean, she drew blood in a couple of places. We don't really want to have her, and so we don't know what to do with her.
Did you try to rub the stomach or something?
No, the funny thing
No.
is, she just jumped on my lap
Yeah.
for a hug and a. She's very, very physical, but now we don't know what to do with her because we want her to have a home, but we don't really want her to have a home with us because
Do you think
like,
is
I've had
redemption possible?
If it's really not settling in, then cats are very strange animals.
Oh yeah.
You are their convenience. Yes.
yes,
It's not like a dog. You don't really bond in the same way. They're always letting you know that they are the boss, and you are there to just provide for them. And if you don't, for instance, we have one cat that we've had for 2 years, and when it wants feeding, it bites Liz on the legs. Yeah, it's the sweetest cat going, but when it's hungry, it bites her.
yeah,
And I mean, it really is a nasty nick.
yeah,
So, you've got to accept that cats are like that. So if it's not going to settle, and if it's going to start trying to be the boss with the other cats as well, then it's best to get it rehomed.
Have you got space for another cat? Is what I'm really asking.
There is the kitten connection near
Really?
They
I
are
thought that
very
was a gentleman's club. Kitten connection.
That's called something else.
Okay.
So that is the place that if you have a cat that is a nice cat, that maybe can go to a private, just an owner with one cat as the single cat, then maybe it will calm down.
I imagine that she needs to be in a house on her own. I've had cats
That's
my whole
what I'm saying.
life.
Yes.
I've never come across a cat that turns so mean. Just like
no,
obvious.
Over the 19 years we've been here in Portugal, we have adopted probably 8 to 9 cats.
Wow.
Maybe more actually, and quite honestly, they do that. One of them, our Alpina, just turned up. Liz went out to call for one of the cats one night, and coming up the steps from the pool area was this little stray.
Very smart, aren't they?
Yeah.
They know how to get looked after.
Then we found another one in our palm tree.
Like you do.
Yeah. And they just make, they will know where to come.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah.
It's the same with dogs because we found
My
our
arm's
dog.
going to split.
It's survival. They really are needing to survive. A cat in the wild lasts an average about 5 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's all.
I feel bad now.
Yeah.
Like we should definitely look after it.
So it really needs a home.
Yeah.
Well,
is it a pretty looking cat?
Yeah, she's
Oh,
pretty.
look at this farm. Hold on, we're just passing a big. Oh no, it's Letal. Can you see that fantastic sign there? Billboard. Mosteiro do Leitão. Okay, sorry.
Just missed it. The camera didn't really pick it up.
Oh dear.
Are you in Laytown territory now?
This is where we are now. We've got a chance to go on the A1,
Oh, wow.
the A23 to Abrash,
Yeah.
Ranco, and
Uh-huh.
so going on to the A23 now. And talking of driving, Colin, we were going to be test driving some motors.
We certainly are.
So we
Yeah, when are you going to do
Well,
that?
we are, but if we can get the correct people who I have emailed to actually respond to us, yes.
Have we got a bit of a problem in communication?
I think the best thing for us to do is go door knocking.
Oh, we're going to go and see the dealers?
Yeah,
right.
Face to face, because it seems to be an epidemic here that emails take forever to get replied.
Okay, so we just go and see
They
some
can
people,
do, can't
take them out for lunch, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, great, and we'll do some.
We will definitely.
How would you see it? Our car review thing. I mean, obviously, the inevitable comparison when it comes to motoring is Top Gear.
We have a person with us today, a German gentleman who was just asking my advice on cars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And we need to give the correct advice, and we need to find out what people need, because it's like the old story, isn't it? What people think they need, and what they actually need, can be two different
needs and
things.
Do you know what?
Exactly.
You know what, guys? You are cracking up a little bit, and
Yes, we are.
You knew that.
And it's our voices as well.
And actually, I've got lovely Jennie who's joining me as well. So
I see what's going on here,
We're not
Colin.
needed
We're just
anymore.
being booted off, aren't we? Because she's got Jennie, and now, okay, chaps, enough of you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye then.
I'm gonna leave you to your bromance. You can stroke each other's legs on the minibus. Okay. I want to chat.
We've
with
been
Jennie
waiting
now.
for this moment. Okay, all right.
I'll catch you later.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
Hello.
Hello, my love. How are you?
Hello. I'm all right. How are you? I'm outside today because inside is a bit of a mess. So I'm outside in the lovely sunshine.
You know what? I saw that lovely burst of blue sky, and I was quite excited by that you were doing this outside.
Yeah. So apologies if it's a bit noisy with the cockerel and the dogs and the building work and everything.
Oh no! So what's happening at your Kinta then at the moment?
Well, hopefully in the next couple of weeks we should be in the house. They're starting to finish off the bathrooms today. We've got the cockerel has settled in nicely, and the ducks have settled in nicely, and we're getting about between 10 and 12 eggs a day, which is very nice.
Wow, that's nice.
And hopefully soon we'll also have some little chicks. But none of the hens have really taken much of an interest to be nesting just yet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next few months. But things are good.
So I'm not sure if everyone knows you on Carl's show. I know you've been on a few times. Do you want to just say a little bit about you first? Or
okay. So no, I can. So I'm Jennie, and I've lived here now for coming on to 12 years this year. So in October the 12th it'll be 12 years. And I'm a nurse. I'm an integrative health practitioner, and I also have another venture with a friend called Bo, who also lives here in the Silver Coast, and that is all to do with mind, body, soul stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of different arms. I've got 2 boys, 4 dogs. Lots going on.
Yeah.
Always busy.
But what I really like about you is how your life, like all the different parts of your life, they come back together under like an umbrella of wellness, right? And just feeling good, being good. It's all about, it's all kind of natural and goodness, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to attain, really. We're trying to attain kind of the most self-sufficient lifestyle we can have, while also still trying to earn an income, because we've got children to support and animals to feed and stuff like that. So everything kind of ties in together, and I think I've landed where I needed to be. And I think probably the last 45 years of my life have been getting to this point. So I'm very happy to be where we are right now.
That's so nice. So I wanted to talk a little bit about like our stories that we tell ourselves about, migrating and whatnot, because obviously you did it 12 years ago, and I'm wondering if you still got the same story about why you left the UK to come to Portugal. Like when people say, oh, so how did you end up here, and that kind of thing, because the stories we tell ourselves are so powerful, aren't they? And I realized that the story we had about why we were living has changed quite a bit in the time that we've been here. It might not even be relevant anymore. So just wondering about your story and what we can learn about.
I think it is still relevant because we talked about this a little bit before, didn't we, on one of your shows, I think, about moving to Portugal.
There is a show just about your story of moving here, isn't there?
Yeah. So we were living in Lincolnshire, me, the father of my 2 children, and my oldest was I was pregnant with my youngest when we decided to come here, and I lived in, I grew up there from the age of about 8, and there isn't that much to do there, to be honest with you. And I knew that I didn't really want to raise my children there, but I also didn't want to be away from like support networks and things like that.
Yeah.
And we had quite a few friends. I was thinking about this on the car on the way back from school, which there's Grev, by the way, today. So I've got to go back and pick them up in a little while, drop them off, go back to it. And they don't tell you till the day, so it's very difficult to organise anything.
Grev, is that a strike?
Strike, yeah. So they just tell you on the morning. You just know on the morning.
Oh my God.
Which I suppose is what strikes are meant to be. They're meant to disrupt, aren't they? But in the UK, they give you plenty of advance, don't they, notice? But anyway, so we had quite a few of our close friends that had moved away. Like my best friend from childhood was living in Scotland. I had friends that emigrated to Australia, and we had friends that went over to France. And I can't remember who it was that actually said it to us, to both of us. It was one of our friends that said, out of all the people we know, I'm surprised that you're still here and that you haven't moved away. And we'd looked at Canada because I thought that I could change my nurse registration, but we'd never actually even visited Canada. But for this region, my parents had an apartment here, and we'd been over a few times on holiday. And then it still wasn't that touristy. Like, it was touristy with the Portuguese, but it was still quite, there wasn't that many Brits or other nationalities here. It was still quite, it felt like it was 25 years ago in the UK. That's how it felt. And everybody knew each other. And we lived in San Martino for the first 18 months. And I had a tiny baby then. And it was really nice. I really, really enjoyed it. So we were here on holiday one day, and we were up near the bakers in San Martino, and we saw in the window was an advert for some land in between Nazaré and San Martino on the coast. And it was, I can't remember how much it was, but it was like something like 50,000 or something like that. But it had planning permission to build. And we were like, well, we could just sell our house and we could probably make enough. So we did that. We went home, put the house on the market, see how much we could get for it, and we worked out that we could buy a plot and we could also build. And then that plot fell through because there was a bit of dodginess about you need to send cash to Germany and all this kind of thing. We were like, no, we're not getting involved in that. So we kept moving on, and eventually we found another plot and we built a house. So I was 31. No, I was 33 then, and we'd had a mortgage since I was 21. So we'd bought in like the early 2000s, and our first house had doubled in value, and then we renovated our second house and that doubled pretty much in value. And then we had a little bit of help from my parents, and we were able to build our kind of dream. And the whole kind of thought behind it was to be able to give ourselves and the children a better quality of life. And yesterday was a feriado here, wasn't it? And it was a really nice day. So my youngest said, I want to go to the beach with some friends. So went to the beach, and they were there from 10 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night. And they were in the water pretty much the whole time. They were just having a really good time. And there is no way we'd have done that in October in the UK. So, I feel very grateful for those moments, and they're the reasons why we moved here.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my goodness. And how long was it, do you think, before it felt like it was really home? Did you have one of those kind of like, what the hell have I done moment?
No, not once. Not once. I think Ruben did, my partner at the time, and unfortunately, obviously, lots happens in 13 years. We're not together anymore, and things have changed. But I don't regret it for 1 second, and I never thought, what have we done? I always had the mindset that we'll make it work, or we'll make it work whatever happens. So we could have always sold and gone back to the UK. So
Yeah.
the only thing I really miss about the UK is my friends and family, and the rest I think you can kind of find anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like you can find home and comfort. But interestingly, we used to come to Portugal quite a lot on holidays when we were kids. And my mum said that the very first time she landed in Portugal and her feet touched the ground, she felt like she was home.
Wow.
And I felt a little bit like that when I first came as well. I think that I felt very rooted here. I don't know why. And I've travelled all over, and I've never had that sense of, feeling like I do belong here. This is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah. No, that's
I think
lovely. That's really, really lovely to hear that, because I do notice that lots of people have different experiences. I mean, you must have seen quite a few people come and go in the time that you've been here.
Yeah, it seems to be like people, stay 5 or 6 years, and then I've seen people move back after that length of time.
Yeah.
And I still see people now that have been here 10, 12 years that are thinking about moving back. I
Yeah.
saw someone I know on Facebook the other day advertising their house, and I thought, well, they're moving back to England then.
Yes.
And I can understand why, but I think it does help having young children here, because they're in the school system and their life is very much embedded here. So to go ever think about moving, I'd be uprooting them again.
Yeah.
And they feel like Portugal is home, but both of them are quite open to travelling and moving somewhere else when they're older. And what they've got now is they're bilingual. They're in 2 very well-spoken languages, Portuguese and English. So
Yeah.
they've got a really good. And there has definitely been more opportunities, more accessible opportunities for them here than I think there would have been in the UK.
Yeah.
Like both of them, well, the eldest has stopped now, but both of them got enrolled into the music part. They had to apply, but it's a free position from the state, and they subsidise everything. You just have to pay for the instrument, and they get like an extra 5 hours, I think, of music a week for free.
Wow.
So, and I
nice.
don't think they'd have had that opportunity in a public school. So both of them can now play an instrument. They could both read music really well.
Yeah.
And even if they don't take it any further, that's a really good basis for stuff. And in the schools they have a lot of extra activities when they have free periods, so they can do canoeing, robot club. There's loads of different stuff that they can do, and it's all free.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't taken that one up actually, but there's like extra athletics. There's lots of extra stuff that they can do. So I'm not saying that the school system is better here, because there's definitely flaws, but there's like my eldest has started to play rugby now and trains twice a week, and it's €25 a month. So in England, I think that would be 40, 50. I know it's comparable to wages and things, but I just probably wouldn't have been able to have afforded to be able to let them do so many activities.
Are you all right there?
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's just Luis is saying he's going surfing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other lovely thing, isn't it? The lifestyle. You know Gary Austin, don't you? Ginny's brother-in-law. You know Jennie, don't you?
No, I know Jennie, but I don't know his brother-in-law.
Well, Gary is waiting in the wings as well. He's joining us. So I was just wondering if we could bring him on as well.
Sure.
Morning, Gary. How are you doing?
Good morning, people. I'm
Good
good,
morning.
thank you. Good
Right,
morning.
that's Jennie.
Hello.
Which arm? There you go. Have you heard of Jennie before? Jennie, she's a really amazing nurse and integrative health practitioner in Caldish.
I don't think our paths have crossed. I may have seen your name dodging about, and you might know Jennie.
I do know Jennie.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm Terence's brother, John Terence. I'm his
brother. Okay.
And how long have you been here, Garvo? Because Jennie's been here 12 years, did you say?
12, yeah.
Off the top of my head, coming up for about 4 years now.
Right. And your brother and Jennie have been here for donkey's years, haven't they?
About 15, 16 years, something like that.
So
part of the furniture, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So you came out here because you'd seen the lifestyle that your brother had.
Well, do you know what? A long time before my brother came out here, you search for those places that you haven't been to. And I remember looking at a place called Aberdosh with its medieval walled town and thinking that'd be a nice place to go, wouldn't it? And just in the the midst of time, we lost the idea about that. And then obviously my brother moved to the area, and he came more or less straight to San Martin de Porto. And obviously I came over to visit him.
Yeah.
And then I remember saying, "Blimey, that's that town I was going to go to." Down the road. So, for many years I came to visit him and the kids. So got to know that particular area on the Silver Coast. So I've got the cat down here, by the
Oh,
way.
okay.
I'm trying to keep him quiet. I'm not just fiddling about anything.
No, it's fine.
So
Are you
yeah,
looking for a cat, by the way? That
No,
vicious one that attacked me the other day. We need to find a new home for it. You're
I've
not
got
looking for a cat,
three
are you,
already.
Jenny?
No. Well, I would if I didn't have the dogs, but they would probably rip it to shreds. So
So it's interesting because both of you, your stories kind of start around the Silver Coast, San Martin sort of area. It's funny, isn't it?
It is. It's maybe because it's a beautiful coastal part of Portugal that's not too overdeveloped.
Yeah.
And I remember getting there thinking, hey, this is just about right. It's a beautiful seaside resort, but no big, huge developments. You can walk into the fields within sort of 10 minutes or so, and you're out in the fresh air and stuff. So I like that. But
So
the only thing I did notice there was the mist.
yeah, it does get misty, doesn't it? So how long did it take of visiting your bro before you thought actually it's time for me and Linda to move over?
Well, we did maybe been here for about 10 years. It's got to be about 10 years or so. And we just, come to visit, spend time. And then I thought, I want to go and see another part of Portugal. I want to go and see. Oh, God, the other cat's come now. We're in trouble. I want to go and see something, what I would deem as not touristy Portugal, but some form of real Portugal. So we decided to come to this crazy place in the middle of nowhere called Albayazra.
Yeah.
And I remember I stopped at a place just almost over the road there.
Yeah.
And it was late on in the season. It was, probably about this time of year. It must have been because of the Shishiro festival that they're having. And rolled into town quite late at night to set up. And there was this big party going on in the town. I thought, what's happening here? Whose birthday? Is it the new mayor or something? Because you do, you don't really get to know these things. And it went on all night. And for the next 3 days it went on as well. And I thought, this town has definitely got something. And just fell in love with it right there. Just fell in love with it.
And what was it celebrating? Was it like?
It was the what they call the Shishiro festival, which is I think it translates as a looping bean.
Oh wow!
And they do various things with this looping bean. They make food out of it. They distill it into alcohol, and it's just really as you know, an excuse to have a good party.
Yeah.
We are apparently we are the Shishiro capital of Portugal.
Oh wow!
They're like a kind of yellow bean.
Yes. Yeah, we have those sometimes. They're quite tasty, quite Moorish, aren't they?
They are really once you know how to eat them.
Yeah. You have to like peel them out a little bit, don't you?
If you get the technique right, which I haven't quite yet, you just you squeeze and they pop into your mouth.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. So yeah, I mean it is pretty good location, Albayazra, because you're not far from Tomar, you're not far from quite a few different things. Pombal's not far away.
I mean, literally, we're in the middle of a lot of different places which are useful. You've got Tomar, Pombal, Coimbra.
Yeah.
What else have we got? We're about an hour from the coast if you want to go to the seaside.
Yeah.
You got the Serra de Estrela, which is about just about an hour and 20 minutes. So you can go sun on the beach or ski if you want to. It's up to you.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We got some comments coming in. So Antonio is saying it's the Festival de Xixaro. I may have pronounced that incorrectly. Pete, who is known as Solar Life Portugal, is saying Al Viagra, which is what he calls. Sorry, I think Carl started that, didn't he? Al Viagra is a heaving town compared to where we are. I'm looking forward to the bumper cars, dancing, and of course, tudo à noite. I'm off to a bean festa on Saturday. Very nice. Have fun.
Free to come into this festival tonight. We're going to have a mad debauch night of bumper car action.
Really?
Yes.
That sounds great.
He does like the old Dodgems a bit.
And Susie's saying the Silver Coast has a lovely vibe. I would agree with that. Do you think you would move away, Jenny? Because obviously you've been here pretty much the whole time, haven't you, on the Silver Coast?
No, I don't think so. I think it feels like California here to me. It's like paradise. I mean, like Foz do Aurélio is driving down into Foz is one of my favorite things to do because it's just incredible. It's like something out of,
it's
dreamlike travel journal. Yeah, it is amazing. And you can, like Garvo said, you've got everything quite accessible. So like here, Lisbon's only an hour away. Porto's only 2.5 hours if you put your foot to the floor. Like there's so many historical and archaeological and amazing sites around here. Like there's Coimbra, Tomar, like you said, Batalha, Alcobaça, some beautiful, beautiful towns. And then you've just got this amazing undeveloped coastline that, like Garvo said, it's not like the Algarve where there are lots of areas that are very built up and overdeveloped. And, there's still some buildings that probably shouldn't have been built here. And there obviously still was some, dodgy planning laws. But it's just incredible. And the weather, I know that it does rain quite a lot sometimes. And, you get that sea mist sometimes. But really, compared to the UK, the weather is just amazing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dream, isn't it, really?
And especially out of season, like in the winter or autumn or spring even, they're my favourite months. I think summer's actually my least favourite month. Season.
No, it's funny because
we
went for a little drive yesterday and we drove towards Nazarene. There's this lovely big lake in the middle of nowhere. We call it Snake Lake. We have no idea what it's actually called. And it's a little picnic area. We go there every now and again. And there were some Portuguese people all with their barbecues, all very well prepared. You know what they're like with their barbecues and the picnics and stuff. And it was really, really beautiful. And, it was warm enough that we're all in short sleeves, but we didn't have to worry about burning. It was just one of those really, really lovely days. It is definitely my favorite time of the year, because you can step outside your house in December and it's still really quite pleasant, isn't it? And
if the sun's shining,
if it's raining, it's a bit miserable, but it's what we would be having if we were in the UK.
That was one of the things I thought about when I was driving around Portugal. You drive down the road and there's those really deep drains by the side. There's worrying things you don't want to drop into. And you think, when the sun's shining, you think, why have they got such ridiculously deep drains?
Then it rains.
And then you find out.
They fill so fast, don't they? It's mad.
Yeah, they really do. I've fallen in one of those in France. I didn't actually fall. I was knocked into one. I was on a moped, and this articulated lorry came past, and I saw it in my mirror, and I thought, oh my God, he's gonna like knock me right in. So I leant into him as he overtook me, and because otherwise he'd have really properly knocked me off. That sounds really, really bad how I said that, but I chipped some of my elbow and still came off, but not as violently as it would have happened. So my arm in a sling. I traced him and he apologized. But those ditches are really, really, you wouldn't want to get lost in one of those. Like, because these roads aren't even that well traveled, are they? If you were to come off on a bike or something, you could be there for quite a while before anyone noticed. We got Jenny, Sarah's joining us in the chat room. She's saying, Jenny, this is making me very happy with our move to the area. We just landed in Caldas da Rainha on Sunday, and she loves your descriptions.
Good choice. Caldas is amazing. Caldas is I lived in Caldas in the centre for 4 years, and it's an amazing city. It's got so much culture and art stuff going on. Like Caldas Late Night is one of the best things ever. I don't know if you know about Caldas Late Night, but it happens every year. and it was started by the students at ESAD, which is the Escola for Design and Arts, I think. But it's a very well known. It's supposed to be one of the best universities for arts in Caldas. And it started about 20 something years ago, and the students put their artwork up in different houses, and then there was a map where you could walk around the city or the town. They say it's a city, but it's not really, is it? No, and then you could go and explore like different places, and it's just built since then. And they even do things like they have pillow fights in the Praça da Fruta, there's DJs in the churches, there's DJs at night. There's all sorts of events going on. There's like in the where the park is, there's some like little rooms there that look abandoned. There's like live art displays going on there and performance art and stuff like that. But it's amazing, the vibe. And really, all the people in Caldas just that live there that are not students, they just think, well, it's only for a few days. Let the students do what they want. But it brings in a lot of people to the area.
How often do they do it?
Every year. So it's once a year. I think usually it's in May, I think, April, May, usually. But it's well worth looking out for because they've got stuff during the day, then there's more stuff during the night. But they produce like a map of all the different installations across the city, and you can just go and visit every. It's like the city opens its doors, basically, and everybody can just. It's really nice.
What I always notice over and over and over again, and maybe you've noticed this as well, Garbo, is that Portugal is so like humble. You know, like all these amazing things it does. Like if we were in the UK, there'd be some like somebody who's just left university would be like flagging all of these amazing opportunities, and there'd be such a noise made about all of the like benefits and whatnot that your area has. But like things are really under advertised here, I notice. You know, you kind of stumble along things, or you have to kind of hear about it from a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. And of course, all the Portuguese know it's happening, but you know, you don't necessarily see these things advertised anywhere. It's so rich, full of stuff. It's incredible.
That's a very good point, Louise, because like you say, not many of these festas, events, or you know, things of notoriety are known. So I don't know whether I should say this, but I've just done a little Facebook page site for Central Portugal Connection, where I want people, wherever they are in like Central Portugal, to say, if we're having a fiesta, put it on there, or party or whatever, and so we can all share in it, and we can all, you know, involve ourselves in the community and around. Because when you go to some of these things, as we found out with the beer festival, they are absolute little gems. They're
amazing, aren't they?
The wonderfulness. They are just so special. They really are. So
it's one of the things I found very endearing about here is like they celebrate everything. So even there's a festival of the onion, I think, in Rio Maior, and there's a festival like the bean festival, and then there's a festival of soup. they celebrate everything, and and they're still really popular as well. They still get a lot of locals and Portuguese going to them. The Nadadoro Festa that lasts for 10 days, that's something else. I mean, people come from all over to go to that festa.
Wow. And I hadn't even heard of this one. I think it'd be lovely to go to. If I missed it, did I miss it?
The Nadadoro Festa was in August, but they also do quite a big party for Carnival as well.
Oh wow. Yeah,
which is interesting because and Carnival is another thing. Like in the UK, we never celebrate that, right? Or
no,
not really.
Carnival in Nazareth is really pretty hardcore, isn't it?
Yeah, and Torres Vedras, they do the big like paper mache heads and stuff like that. It's quite incredible, really, the amount of work that they put in, and I bet a lot of it's done volunteer wise as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the other great thing. Carl is begging to come on, so I'm going to put him on. Love, you're on. You're on. Can you hear me?
Oh, hello. Sorry, I was just having a bit of a smutty chat with Colin here. Thanks for telling me. You know what he's like.
You wanted to speak, I think.
No, I just wanted you to see this because look, this sign says Alvagra on it. We're coming up. We're on the A13. Coimbra, Alvazra. We're just passing the end of Gary's Drive.
Gary's just giving you a wave. How's the trip going?
You don't need to. I mean, we don't need the mic on, but it just might be a nice little bit of visual. on
Yeah.
Portuguese road here. We've got the motorway to ourselves. It's just amazing this morning.
I mean, this is what it's like, isn't it? It's just
No.
fantastic. All right. Well, I'm gonna
So
turn
there's
your.
people shouting, "Are we there yet?" Already.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Is anyone boozing on your minibus?
No one's had it. I haven't smelt any alcohol yet. I think it's quite a well-behaved crowd so far on the trip. But although when we're coming back, it's going to reek of Barao in here. If we're going to the factory. Yeah.
Yeah, it will do. Right, I'm going to turn you off, but keep you on screen, okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Right. So don't scratch your nuts or anything, because we'll see it. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Jenny. Carl's on a Schist and Barao tour today, and he's on a mini with a load of people. So I think, yeah, anything could happen.
The roads is another good point. So
yeah,
I know you have to pay tolls on quite a lot of the roads, but you know, they're such a dream to drive on compared to driving on the M6 or something. Yeah. And even getting in and out of Lisbon isn't that stressful. It's pretty easy. It's not. Yeah.
It's really lovely. So I mean, you guys have so Gary, you've been here 4 years. Jenny, you've been here 12 years almost. Like, what's keeping you here the most? Like, you know, if you Carl and I, for instance, we had the story when we were talking about our stories, we realized that Portugal was our plan B. You know, if things didn't feel quite right in the UK, you know, we wanted a place where we could, like you, Jenny, where our kids could have a really great quality of life. I like what you said about it. It seemed like it was a little bit like 25 years ago in the UK. We still feel like that, actually, but I can see it's probably changed quite a bit since when you first arrived. So it was our plan B. We now don't have a plan B. So, if things went wrong here on the coast, what might we do? I think we would try and stay in Portugal, but go to a different area. But then I don't know if we would move again to another country. What about you guys? Do you think you will stay here?
Me, definitely. My partner's Portuguese and he's from here. Yeah. And to him, this is paradise. He's a surfer. He doesn't need to be anywhere else, really. He has no real desire to travel, to want to surf anywhere else. Here is amazing. So, no, I think I'll be stayed put here. The only thing that maybe when I'm a little bit older is I might think about moving somewhere that might be a bit warmer all year round, like maybe further down south. But I don't think so, because we've got such an established network here. I think that it would be a totally different country if we were going to do that. Brazil, maybe.
Very exotic. What about you, Gary? Because you've just got a nice pad not far from where you actually live.
Well, yeah, that's part of the long-term plan, really. I mean, this place is huge. I mean, it's filled its purpose beautifully, having my brother and family occupying half of it, and watching the kids grow up and go their ways and develop as adults. That's nice. But this little place I bought is further out. Believe it or not, if you can get any further out. In the middle of, I mean, it's probably the sort of place I'd advise nobody to buy, because it's near the woods and needs stuff doing to it and this, that, and the other. But it is just such a stunningly beautiful place with a great atmosphere, and it's all on one level, which benefits Linda, and it's manageable. But the long-term thing is, I don't have to sell this right now. I can develop this little place, make it the way that I want it, use it for visits, weekends, whatever. But finally, when the day comes to sell this, then I'll move to the smaller place. And it is very different from Alviasa, because Alviasa is largely agricultural farming, vines, olives, but this is more forestry orientated. Right. But the people are so friendly. They really, really are. I mean,
where is it, Gary? Where's your new place?
It's a place called Val do Souto, which is in between Ceuta and Oleiros. It's about halfway in between both. But just beautiful place to be. I stood outside yesterday. I thought, I'm so lucky. Things just keep getting better and better. So long term wise, I don't think I'm going to go anywhere.
It's interesting you both mentioned long term, because one of the things I think could be something that like makes or breaks somebody's trip to Portugal is how they approach older age. You know, like, you know, we've met people who've actually, you know, and like I think medications have just been changing. I heard very recently that some medication that people, like painkillers that people could easily purchase in Portugal, have now been banned from sale in Portugal, and I think across Europe. And so, you know, there's a lot of people who make their decisions based on what healthcare they can get. And I've met people that have gone back to their country of origin. And what, like, from what you've seen, Jennie, and from you, Garvo, what preparations can people truly make to safeguard their, you know, their migration?
I think, and this is vastly underrated, although like the UK health system, it's under pressure.
Yeah.
But if I use Linda as an example and her arthritis, etc., she's received such a great standard of care here, and meticulous care as well. I mean, sometimes when you used to go in the hospital back in Britain, it was like rush in, rush out, few photos of this, and you're out again. Here, they
Yeah.
are so thorough and so investigative in what they do that they've put on a new plan of stuff, some new medications and stuff, because the other ones weren't working. But now she's improved so much. I mean, Peter will tell you the way she climbed around that castle one day that we were there, and obviously the weather helps. So I would say that the Portuguese public health system is as equal, in sometimes, depending where you are, better than the UK. So I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah. That's interesting advice. You know, I don't know if people had said the same 4 years ago or 10 years ago, but every time I speak to somebody who's back in the UK, their impression of what's going on with the NHS is that it's going down rather than coming up. You've obviously got an experience, like very sort of personal experience with the NHS, Jennie, haven't you?
Yeah, I think it's very variable in both the UK and here as to which kind of service you get. I think here, if once you're in a system within a speciality, it does seem to go quite smoothly. Trying to get a diagnosis and find a doctor that then takes over your care is sometimes a little bit more tricky.
Right.
And I've had clients that have had to use a bit of both to try and get to a point. So I know someone that was having a lot of problems, a lot of pain in their back, and lots of other symptoms as well. And she wasn't getting very far with the National Health Service, and the scan was like 6 months down the line. So she managed to find a very good private clinic where she had a CT scan. Then she had an appointment with the consultant, and she had a solution by the time she left. So this was a clinic in Porto. They just do spines. She went up there in the day, and by the end of the day, she had a kind of like provisional diagnosis and what she should do about it.
Wow.
And then she's re-entered the NHS system again. So now she's and they're treating her very well. So, but she'd have been, you know, in a terrible state if she'd have had to wait another 6 months for a scan. So I think there is some degree of like, you might have to kind of like play the options of the system that you have to get the best quality care. And the other thing is private healthcare insurance isn't that expensive here.
No,
and it's not like the UK or America where you have to declare all your previous medical conditions and stuff like that. So there is options for both. I think community care here has started to improve a little bit since when we first arrived. And when I first arrived, there was no such thing as community nursing.
Wow.
But I know someone who had emergency surgery quite recently, and they had a nurse come every day to change their dressing. So in the past, if you'd have had an operation 2 days ago, you'd have to get yourself down to the health service to wait for a nurse to then dress your dressing. But now there seems to be a bit more kind of community care, and it's palliative care here that I don't think is as good or as robust as in the UK. So like in the UK, obviously we have lots of Macmillan nurses, community nurses, palliative care nurses, Marie Curie nurses, and they very much are geared up to making sure that people can be in their own home and die in their own home. You don't have so much of that here. So people tend to either die at home with no help, or they go and die in hospital or in a care home. So there's some of the things that I think are starting to develop, and there are private nurses, for example, and private doctors that you can pay to come and help a loved one in their own home. But I think it serves for some things, other things not so much, but it's also the same in the UK. Like,
Yeah.
And every interaction, I can always find fault in something. I'm a Virgo. I can always find, they could do it like this, or they could be more organized, or they,
Yes.
I once went to the hospital with a friend, and she had lots of things that she had to do. She'd been to see the appointment, and then the doctor said, right, I need you to have these blood tests, this scan, this x-ray, and I'm going to make you an appointment with this person. And instead of doing it all kind of like internally on the computer, he printed out a request form, and then we had to go to each department to then book the appointment and register the thing. And it took us about 2 hours to do it. It didn't have to be like that. But I'm not criticizing, because, people should ideally take as much responsibility for their own health and well-being before it gets to the point that you need. And maybe that makes people more like, if the system isn't there to support you as much, it probably makes you more likely to want to try other means that can be helpful for you, rather than like relying on the health service all the time.
Wow. It's funny, isn't it? What you were saying about like having to go from department to department to book different things. Like Carl and I, both of our bank cards on different accounts ran out at the same time. And so we went to Caldash on Tuesday. And so I went into my bank to change my bank card. And I actually needed to update my address. So I actually need to go back to update my bank card very, very shortly. But when I was there, I discovered that they had completely incorrect information about me. And like you fill in like 10 pages of info and this, that, and the other, like when you apply for something. So this woman was asking me on the phone, what's your father's name? And so I kept giving my father's name. And she said, no, I need your father's name and the middle name, please. And then she said, what's your mother's name? Anyway, when I looked at the screen that the guy in front of me had about me, I could see that they had Carl's dad's name as my father, and then my dad's name as my mum. So I've got to go back again another time to change that, because I wasn't able to get all three changed on the same day, which is a bit bonkers. And then Carl had pretty much the same millennium as well. So,
I've had a lot of that. I once was mugged. Well, not mugged. I was pickpocketed in Continent.
Oh,
and I was putting my little boy in the car seat, and my purse was in my pocket. And a woman came over to ask me for money, and I said no, and I went to take because they're always there asking for money. And I went to put the trolley back, and then when I went to the petrol station to get some petrol, I didn't have my purse. So I went to the police station and gave a whole statement. It only had about €5 in, but it had quite a lot of personal, like it had my fiscal number all written down, because you get asked it all the time. So I had all my kind of personal information in there, my driving license, some other stuff. And I gave a whole statement. I was there for hours. And then about 6 weeks later, I got a phone call to say that I had to go back to confirm some things at the police station. And when they opened up the form, the description and every box of information had the same words, and it was brown hair in Portuguese, obviously. So what they'd somehow done is update the whole form with that answer. So it was like clothing, brown hair, description, brown hair. And then they were trying to get me to describe her again. I had no idea. It was like months later again. The only thing she had was a big scar on her face. That was the only thing I could remember. I couldn't remember what colour clothes she had on. I couldn't remember any of that. And it was kind of irrelevant at that point, because, it was 6 months down the line. They were never going to find her. Well, I think they actually knew who she was, but they couldn't find any evidence, because she was well known in the area. And so things like that. And my son has a name that ends in A. So he was enrolled in the health system as a girl, but he's a boy. So there's lots of things like that.
Well, it's funny, because actually when I was at the bank, I got all my details up, because I sometimes Mr. M goes and sorts everything out, like while I'm looking after the kids or whatever. And so he'd got like one of our registration documents updated, and I'd never checked it. But anyway, I was at the bank and I was showing proof of where I was living, and I looked and it had that I was Irish, but that I was naturalized as a Brit. And it was like, where the hell did that come from? Like, I have absolutely no idea. Like
The
someone
red hair. They made an assumption.
it's just like, it's bonkers. But yeah, it's charming here anyway. Have you got any stories like that, Gary? Or
Well, I'm just going to say about private healthcare.
yeah,
I often wondered about insurance, and you know, because it's kind of there if you need it. But if you want to go and get something done very quickly, the
yeah,
private healthcare system here is not as expensive as you thought it would be, because
No, it's not.
it's really good.
we've got a private hospital in the town here,
Yeah,
and I went for a consultation, and I had to have an ultrasound scan, and I think the whole lot cost me about €60 for the consultation and the
wow.
scan. Now, how much would that cost you back in the UK? You're talking a
Oh,
lot more than that.
hundreds, yeah.
And like you
And
say,
also, there also is places that you can go to without actually having anything to do with the doctor. So you can go
Yeah.
to the analysis labs and you
Yeah.
can tell them what bloods you want to have taken, and then they'll email you the results. And there are also places where you can go and get an ECG. You can go and just pay for an ultrasound, and the radiographer will give you a report. And there's lots of things, because I had a client quite recently. I really wanted to get his abdomen, have an ultrasound of his abdomen, but he didn't have a doctor here, and he was going off traveling. So I went and asked them at the place, and they said, yeah, he can come tomorrow at this time. And I think it was something like you say, €35 or something like that for a scan. And it gave him the peace of mind. The radiographer said, no, everything's okay. We could tick that off the list to exclude anything, and off he went traveling. But if he'd have gone through the health service, it would have taken him months probably to have got a scan. So there are options of play, like I said before, about playing kind of both sides a little bit so that you can get the best care for you.
Yeah, and the care that you want as well. Like when I was pregnant with Solomon, who I had here, I wasn't really entirely sure if I wanted to have a hospital birth. Obviously, loads of babies are born here safely every year, but I wanted to have a home birth, and I just didn't want to have everything kind of registered. Not for any nefarious reasons, but like my experience in the UK is once you're like registered with the doctor and they know you're pregnant, they start like recommending treatments and things like that you have to have. And if you don't, all of a sudden that, I had all sorts of, it seemed quite invasive. So when we were here, I was like, okay, I don't want anyone to get involved. So we paid for a private doula, and I had 2 scans, and I just went into the hospital. I'd like a scan, handed over €85. I think that's what it cost the second time. And it was done within an hour. It was so easy. And there was a lot of anonymity. I didn't have to, involve anyone at all. Obviously, they were a bit shocked that I didn't have a doctor, and I just said, "Oh, I'm on holiday." They were like, "Yeah," they didn't ask any more questions, but it's totally possible to do that. We've got a couple of comments coming in. So Solar Life Portugal is saying, he's talking about your Linda, Gary. Linda is amazing and has had great healthcare. We have a friend with cancer who has also had amazing care, but I wouldn't want to be in the Algarve. Okay. He's also saying, whenever I go to Covilhã, it's always up and usually behind an inquisitive Portuguese driver who sees the edge of a 500-meter drop. That's the best place to be, on the wrong side of the road. Oh, got some great comments. Judging by Carl's cam, they have already had a Birao sampling. And he's also said, Gary lives in a house with fascinating history that was visited by most of the luminaries of the area at some point or another. Is that true, Gary?
It has a very spurious past, I think.
Really? Tell me more.
Yes. Well, when you come, I will show you.
Okay.
And the evidence.
Wow. Fantastic. Well, I should probably start wrapping up the show anyway. It's Friday. It's time for us all to relax and have a nice weekend and stuff. What have you guys got planned for the weekend?
Just more of the usual.
Enjoying the countryside and watching over animals and people and looking after stuff. Bit of surfing.
Maybe.
I've got a bit of pool cleaning to do today, and then obviously a bit of socialising with Peter at the fiesta, and probably the weekend to recover after that.
Oh wow. Well, that sounds very nice. Thank you both for joining me today at short notice, like literally like an hour before the show. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you sharing some of your thoughts about, what it's like to live in Portugal and why you came here and stuff like that. It's just nice to have a chit chat, really, isn't it?
It's a very good choice, I think.
Yeah.
I've, like I said, I've travelled quite a lot around Europe with work, and also around Portugal. I did a lot of driving around Portugal to different places, and it really does have everything.
Yeah.
Like
No,
there
go
are
on.
some faults. There are some faults, of course, like anywhere where you live, and some frustrations and things like that. But really, it is an amazing choice to live or to holiday for sure.
Yeah. Bob is just saying, Jenny, a spine centre in Porto. We have a friend who could really use that info. What's the best way for people to contact you? Because obviously, if somebody did want to get tests done and have them either put into context or translated, or if people wanted to speak with somebody in their own language and have all these sort of tests explained, how could somebody contact you?
They can either use the contact form on my website, which is genius.life, which is JENIUS.life, or they can send an email at hello@genius.life. Same. Okay.
I think I've just done that right. Can you just confirm that?
That's genius.life. That's it.
Hello
at genius.life. Yeah. So if they send me an email, I'll get the info for them. But she said it was an amazing service, that it was well worth it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jenny. What about you? Have you got any final words, Garvo?
I think, and if somebody could be brave enough to do this, as we said, palliative care or at-home care is very, very scarce here. So if somebody's in that sort of profession and wants to sort of start something, I think there's a huge opening here for it. And probably more amongst the immigrants and expat community, because Portuguese tend to, the family does that sort of role. But for people who are here, who are getting on a bit and they need a bit of extra care, I think if somebody wanted to do that, it's there. There is that market gap, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I did, what I do really, but in this area. But the difficulty is with me is that I work on my own, so I can offer short-term packages of care, but longer term it's a bit more tricky. But I did look into that quite a lot when I first came. I started the Silver Coast Nursing Services, but then I ended up getting a job in recruitment, and that closed down. But if anybody has in this area, if anybody has anything like that, I do have links to English-speaking care providers that can provide care reasonably. So I worked with someone quite recently whose wife had a stroke, and I couldn't provide the care because it was 4 times a day. She needed to have somebody to go in, and I helped them create a package with a local agency that do that. They're English speaking, because affordability wise it would have been ridiculous if I'd have tried to do it from my end. So there are ways to do it, and there are more of those agencies popping up that are Portuguese as well. But I totally agree with you. If there could be like a band of people, like a group of nurses and carers, that could be something that someone could be very successful in. The only problem is that the expatriates are quite spread out in this region. In the Algarve, I think there's the Algarve Angels, I think, down there. I think it's the Algarve Angels. There is down in the Algarve, there is already people providing those services that are English speaking, but obviously they've got a lot more concentration of people there.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, both of you, actually, because like one of the ideas that Carl and I have batted around isn't so much providing that care, but almost like a retirement home for expats. Not so much, not because the retirement homes aren't good here. We know of people who are really settled and found really great places here, but almost like retirement homes that aren't really like retirement homes, almost like independent living villages where people can still have that feeling of being on holiday, but with access to care for, as and when they need it. it's an idea that we keep holding. We'd love to do something like that, but we'd obviously need investors.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we'd love, like, you know, that whole idea of sort of having a home or a, you know, a place where people can all congregate and have a place where they feel welcome at their later stages, really appeals. But maybe it's one of these kind of like watch this space kind of things. You know, the ideas are there, and people will all of a sudden feel like, oh yeah, this is something I can do, or I don't know. Oh, what's just happened? Did I just lose you all?
No, we're still here. You
Pressed
got
the
a
button
warning
and you
voice.
disappeared. I can see you.
There was somebody
Yeah.
setting up something like that in this region, but I don't know if it ever got started, and I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
It was a few years ago, but there was someone trying to build like a little retirement village with little like T2s and then a central area. But yeah, it'd be a brilliant idea, I think, because you've also got the golf courses and stuff quite nearby where
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it'd be a great idea, especially as the population increases of expatriates. I think it's only going to keep increasing.
Yeah. All right.
If anybody wants to fund,
if anyone wants to fund, we could all go. We could all do it, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm going to bring Carl on because I think he'll probably want to have his final word. You know what it's like. He loves his show and everything. So I'm going to thank you and love you and leave you. And I'm before I just send you off or let you go about your day, we've got a couple of comments coming in saying, great to see Garvo and Jenny and Louisa. Have a great weekend everyone. Thank you for all the conversations this morning. Like button, everyone. So, you know, people have really enjoyed having you here. Thank you so much. Really, thank you for joining me. All right. I'll see you both soon. I'll see you next week, Gary.
See you later. Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, I'm so lucky to have such cool people around me. Let's see if Mr. M is there and wants to just join us for a bit more conversation.
I'm so here. Great
You're
job.
so here.
Great job, Mrs. M, this morning.
Where are you right now? It's not bad. We've got some great people that have just jumped.
We're just coming off the motorway.
Yeah.
Just coming off the motorway into Miranda de Corvo. So we'll be with Tia Filomena in about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, I expect.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Yeah.
Do you think we can stay on for a little bit longer so we can capture you guys
You're
meeting?
very welcome to, or you can go and have a break and just leave this on if you want. But what's lovely about this is is how you've seen the countryside change here.
Yeah.
You know, this is now, it's gone from the Silver Coast landscape, and it just seems different to me. Like as we discovered or rediscovered last weekend, when you're in central Portugal,
yeah,
you get up here to Mar, when you get around here, Abranches, there's just a different, what is it, topology, geography, geology, all of that is different. It's a different atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, you're in Portugal for sure, but it's so different in many ways as well. And we're experiencing that. I was just chatting with Colin about it. A bit too warm for him up here to live all the time. People, you know, who like it a bit cooler want to be near the coast and get a bit of sea breeze.
Yeah.
But we're definitely coming into Miranda de Corvo now.
Oh, I really do like central Portugal. It's so pretty.
You like this atmosphere, don't you? And this vibe and this geography here.
And it feels slower, doesn't it? It feels so much more traditional. You actually do feel like you're in Portugal. Like sometimes you kind of forget you're in Portugal a little bit on the Silver Coast because it just feels so familiar, you know. And you're not the only expat, are you, on the Silver Coast? But the further you get inland, the more unusual it is.
Yeah, for sure. And yes, it's rustic and rural, and I suppose you could say like real Portugal in many ways.
Yeah. Filomena is in the chat. She's saying they're almost here at Solar Life Portugal because Pete is saying you would need a really big licking window and mildly moist seating area for that Gumper retirement home.
Oh, have you? I missed some of the conversation. We've been talking about the Gumper retirement home again.
Yeah, we were talking about, you know, like it's like for you know, people who stay here long term. but then also talking a little bit about, you know, like the health challenges, you know, because for instance, if you're really dependent on treatment and then that's removed, and that can create difficulties for people, and sometimes people move back to their country of origin, you know, because the sort of respite care is better there. And so we were talking about different options, and Jennie was sharing that, you know, there have been you know, she has been able to provide some of that care herself, but like she's just one person. She's saying that in the Algarve there's the Algarve Angels, I think, that do a sort of very good respite care and end of life care, but it's very, very difficult to get that sense of getting cared for at home, if that's what you're really wanting. And so we were talking about the potential of the you know, the retirement place or the extended life place or whatever you would call it, really.
No, that it makes well, it's going to be a reality, isn't it? It's with the growing foreign expat population, this will be
that's what Jennie was saying.
something we'll discover together, isn't it, as a community, and see how that unfolds.
Well, we should build it for us.
I think so. Well, we've got Colin here as well. He used to be a host of a bed and breakfast of a guest house in Ericeira. He's like the Basil Fawlty of Ericeira. Yeah, a lot of people around the world have got fond memories of staying with Colin. So we might be able to bring him back out of retirement to do the breakfast.
That sounds good. You know, Colin.
Who doesn't like a bit of Colin first thing in the morning?
I mean, I like
in the distance. Shangri-La. Look at it in the mist there. Isn't that beautiful?
It looks beautiful, doesn't
With
it?
The windmills on the top,
Can't see the windmills. Oh yes, I can, just faintly. It's just really beautiful. And this is what I like about, you know, like when we go on a little tour, Carl, you know, I love just sitting there, just watching what's going on, because like, you know, in the UK, unless we're up in the Lake District or maybe in some parts of Lancashire or somewhere, I've always had this sense that everything is like really closed in. But driving around Portugal, I just get this beautiful sense of space and scale. It's really phenomenal. I love it.
Well, you're getting that now. We've got this windy road coming into Miranda de Corvo. I think we're about 1 kilometre away now, if you want to just bear with for a moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Our driver has been amazing. Rodrigo's done a fantastic job. Lovely smooth drive over here this morning. Thank you. I love that mist on the mountains, which will burn away soon enough. And I think we're going to be very warm by lunchtime.
Yeah. Solar Life is saying that road is quite stomach loss inducing, isn't it, Carl? It's quite twisty turny.
Well,
so you need to like need a bit of time after eating before you get on, you know, drive back.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, we have to be mindful of that a bit later on. But I've got to stop talking about food now because I'm getting quite hungry. But I think Tia Filomena might have some snacks for us when we get there.
Seriously, she's great, isn't she?
She's thought of everything. And we've got a box full of apples. We're halfway through the apples, I think, on the tour bus. Well, there we are. We're going into town now. You okay staying with us for a moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Just while you're pulling in, let me just do this little ad. Squire of the Shire is saying Mattie's back therapy massage clinic is opening on the 13th of October in Ancial. Congratulations on that, Mattie. You've obviously put a lot of work in on that. So, and that's so nice of Squire of the Shires to point that out.
Paul Squire. That's great for Mattie. We've seen him come to Portugal, buy his quinta, and now setting up his pain management practice, which is great. Excellent news for Mattie and anyone else with chronic pain, basically.
Yes, it's really important. Owen's saying it is just like the Lake District, but warmer. And Pete's saying that road which is slowed down. The Global Nobles are saying the wheels on the bus go round and round.
I think we might have a sing-song on the way back.
What, when you're half cut?
Well, we've got all the rugby songs. Can you imagine Colin teaching some of our foreign friends here rugby songs? My one skin lies over my two skin, and those sorts of songs back in the day.
Who have you got on the bus? Like, as far as I know, you've got a lot of Brits, haven't you? And we've got
a good mix. We've got Americans, Brits, German guy with us. We've got quite a mix. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here we are. We're in town. We're
Rando.
coming into meeting Filomena. So maybe we'll sign off as soon as we've seen Filomena greet us with the warmest of greetings, I'm sure.
Yes. The Global Nova saying, hey, it's a semi truck in front of Carl. I'm wondering if that's in reference to that show we did where we were pissing ourselves about semis.
Well, who doesn't like to see a semi in front of them first thing in the morning?
And if Bob's still watching, he'll know exactly what we're talking about. Susan's saying there's mountains. Oh,
we're coming into one of Portugal's top supermarket chains, Intermarché, and there she is, Tia Filomena, looking fabulous this morning.
I can't see her yet.
She hasn't seen us yet. You wait. Watch her smile when she sees us. Hola. Here she comes.
She's been watching the show because she's been commenting.
All right, we better go now.
All right.
Hola, buen día. Alegría. Oh, all right, love, we're going to go now. One piece of manner, everybody. All right, ciao, ciao. Will do. Okay. Bye.
Oh, so they've arrived safe and sound to pick up Filomena, and they'll be off on their second part of the tour. And if I'm not mistaken, they are off to the Burrell place and to the best restaurant / hotel in Portugal. So on that bombshell, I think I'm going to leave as well and get on with my day. Pete is saying, funnily enough, there are very few semis in Alviagra. Very funny. I'm so sorry that I haven't read all of the comments out. I've been a little bit distracted. I'm not as good as Carl in those terms, but I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thanks for sticking around. Have a great weekend. I don't know what you've got planned, but there's so much going on right now, and the weather is so lovely. So have a fantastic weekend, and I hope we can connect in with you all real soon. We really do appreciate you. It's great to be part of this amazing community. So thank you once again, and we'll catch you another time. Lots of love. Bye for now.
Bom dia, Portugal! In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.